Class is dismissed, boys and girls.
You're in. The zone!
Previously on the YTV Retrospective.
Check this out. Everybody. Check it out.
It's the summer, and you know what that means. The outdoors, warm beaches, the hot sunburn, and of course, baseball. And in this year of 2026, the Toronto Blue Jays have come up to a big milestone, the Big 5-0, 50 seasons of baseball in Toronto. To mark the occasion, I thought I'd do something special. And in this case, we have to go back to the very beginning. In 1976, Major League Baseball was looking to expand, with the addition of two new teams. The first one was the Seattle Mariners, but the second was one that had been in talks since the late 1800s. Toronto. Seeing how they already had a minor league baseball team there called the Toronto Maple Leafs? Funny enough, the team was discontinued in the same year the hockey team won their most recent Stanley Cup. 1967. There, I got my modern hero out of the way. Happy now? However, the idea of going to Toronto was that the San Francisco Giants were going to relocate to the new city and rebrand them as the Toronto Giants. But that didn't happen, and a brand new franchise was purchased for $7 million by a group led by Labatt Breweries, a member of the newspaper The Globe and Mail, and the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, or CIBC. The team would play out of Exhibition Stadium in downtown Toronto. After many fan-requested names for the new team, one was picked, and that was the Toronto Blue Jays, getting their start on April 7th, 1977, in the middle of a snowstorm, in which they needed a Zamboni to clear off the snow.
Brett deals. Hard hit ball. Power alley. Left center field. Home run. Duggan hits the first homer in Blue Jay history and will score the first run.
But hey, they got the win against the Chicago White Sox. And much like the Seattle Mariners, both teams were pretty much in the realm of mediocrity for a good while, with gradual improvements. In that time, the organization was trying to find ways to get people in Toronto to come to the games who are unaware or haven't heard of baseball. Creating commercials with a jingle still used to this very day, as part of the 7th inning stretch.
Okay, Blue Jays, let's play ball.
OK Blue Jays by Keith Hampshire and the Bat Boys, giving the team an identity, allowing beer into games, even getting a mascot called BJ Birdie. Eventually, they would get their first season with a winning record in 1983, and better yet, winning the American League East Division in 1985 for the first time. In 1989, the Blue Jays would move from Exhibition Stadium to a new multi-purpose dome stadium right beside the CN Tower, the Sky Dome, by opening the dome while it was raining.
Raindrops are falling at the door. But that doesn't mean the game will have to be postponed. All we have to do is
Just like that, they began to dominate, winning multiple division titles, and in 1992, they finally made the World Series.
Timlin. Nixon bunts. Timlin on it. Throws to first. For the first time in history, the World Championship banner will fly north of the border.
To the shock of everyone, the Toronto Blue Jays would win their first World Series against the Atlanta Braves, bringing the championship home for the first time. In 1993, they would go for it again against the Philadelphia Phillies. And what happened then? The rest is history.
Here's a pitch on the way, a swing and a belt. Left field, way back. Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
They did it again. Back-to-back World Series champions. One of only 14 teams to accomplish such a feat. Baseball was at the height of its popularity in Canada. And we pause here to take a look at our main feature. See, in all of this, the organization would try and find ways to promote the franchise and the sport to kids. And one of those ways would be a magazine. In 1993, Community Programs Group would create a magazine called the New Junior Jays Magazine. A magazine that provides safety tips, fun facts about the team, and a comic series starring an android time traveler from the year 3052, who is the trainer of the team, named Dr. J, and a cast of diverse kids. Think Burger King Kids Club in terms of the cast. And in the same year, the Blue Jays organization would team up with YTV to create a TV magazine for the team. This is the Junior Jays TV magazine. The first episode premiered in October of 1993, just before the playoff push for their second World Series win. It also featured PJ Jen.
And at the Dome, McDonald's is here to make sure that the 50,000 people here to see the Jays get enough to eat.
And Tarzan Dan, host of YTV's music show The Hit List, teaching kids how to make the Pat Borders Grand Slam smoothie.
Okay, now what you do is you take a half a cup of orange juice, you stick it in there, then you take your cranberry juice and throw it in as well. And then you take your club soda, half a cup of club soda, and throw it in as well. And you take a whole huge humungai banana and throw it in as well. And then you mix it up. And if I don't get it all over me, ooh, it should taste pretty good.
And also promoting the Bare Naked Ladies. Not much I could find of this one aside from a few clips and a blooper reel of PJ Fresh Phil, the Blue Jays mascot at the time BJ Birdie, and pitcher Dave Stewart.
I'm back here at FanFest, and this time I'm with Dave Stewart, ex-Oakland A pitcher. You better beat me about the head and shoulders.
FanFest. That's what it is.
Jays Fest.
Jays Fest, not FanFest.
The second episode premiered in March of 1994, and it focused on spring training in Dunedin, Florida. This time getting a new actor for Dr. J, Roger Clown.
And spring training means the Blue Jays, the back-to-back World Series champions, getting ready for the new season in Dunedin, Florida. My YTV crew went to Dunedin and talked to Blue Jays like Joe Carter and John Olerud.
It included training exercises with trainer Tommy Craig.
You start right across in front with horizontal abduction, blocking with your right arm across in front and your left.
PJ Fresh Phil discussing division changes, splitting the East and West divisions with a new Central Division.
What they did was they created the Central Division, all right? They took 2 teams from the East, 3 teams from the West, made a Central Division. Now this is what the American League looks like now. In the East, we have Toronto, Baltimore, New York, Boston, Detroit. And in the Central Division, we have Chicago, Cleveland, Kansas City, Milwaukee, and Minnesota. The West now looks like this: Texas, Seattle, Oakland, and California.
Also predicted the Jays to win in 1994. We'll put a pin on that. Catcher Randy Knorr discussing catcher's equipment.
And then comes the mask. So here's your mask. You need your mask, again, for the foul tips, and you want to keep your beautiful face, so you need to put the mask on.
PJ Ashna talking to kids about their favorite players.
What would you say to Robbie Alomar if you could see him and talk to him?
I told him that I'm a real big fan of his and that I'd love to have his autograph and that I'd love to have his rookie card.
A recap of the 1993 World Series, and Phil teaching kids how to make a snack. Dwayne Ward Super Sliders.
The Dwayne Ward Super Slider. Very good for you and very tasty. Here we go. Oh yeah.
The third episode premiered in July of 1994, talking about the All-Star break, with manager Cito Gaston and players Paul Molitor, Dick Schofield, and Carlos Delgado. The fourth episode premiered in October of 1994, and brought one of the Blue Jays farm teams, the Syracuse Chiefs, to discuss up-and-coming players. Both episodes 3 and 4 have only been found in snippets online. But a few weeks after this episode aired, behind the scenes, a metaphorical volcano exploded.
Fundamentally, it seems to me, what the clubs want to do is they want to say, we are the only employers, and we can make up all the rules we want to about how and when people can look for jobs in this profession. And since we're immunized under the antitrust laws...
See, throughout the 1994 season, An intense battle was happening between the MLB owners and the Players Association that resulted in the season being halted just before the playoffs. Both were arguing for a few things that could potentially happen. One that is still being fought for now, a salary cap for player salaries. For the first time in league's history, the playoffs and World Series were canceled, and the strike would last 252 days.
Do you know the most heartbreaking aspect of this whole thing?
It wasn't the Blue Jays having a disappointing season leading to a playoff drought lasting 21 seasons. The heartbreak was for the team that was leading the league that year. It was Canada's first Major League Baseball team, the Montreal Expos. It was their best season in decades. It was the best season the franchise ever had. They had potential to making the World Series for the first time. Only for baseball itself to not only say no, but they had to lose a lot of key players during free agency, not even making the playoffs again, and a new owner in 2000 named Jeffrey Loria that screwed the team further. This led to fan apathy after Loria failed to get a new stadium deal going in downtown Montreal, as Olympic Stadium was becoming out of date for the team, and also losing a new broadcasting deal, leading to the franchise's ultimate and unfortunate demise in 2005, moving the team to Washington, D.C., becoming the Washington Nationals, in which they would win a World Series in 2019. Absolutely heartbreaking. But enough about that. The Junior Jays magazine would have one more episode in 1997 to celebrate the Blue Jays' 20th season, discussing the team's history. The TV magazine ran from 1993 to 1997, having a total of 5 episodes, 3 of them in 1994 to start their next season after the back-to-back World Series win. As I said before, the Toronto Blue Jays after this point didn't make the playoffs for 21 years, falling into mediocrity once again, and getting a new owner in the process in 2000. Rogers Communications, eventually calling the Sky Dome the boringly named Rogers Center. It's a Sky Dome, for God's sakes! Why not just call it Rogers Sky Dome? You did the same with the now defunct Saddle Dome in Calgary. Why not this? The magazine itself would change in 1998, calling itself The Magazine, not for adults. While it still had Junior Jays comics until 2000, the magazine began to lean towards pop culture, going for the tween demographic. The magazine would run until 2015. Due to low readership and subscriptions, the Junior Jays name has still been a part of the franchise to this day, being the branding for any home game on Sundays, providing activities for the kids, including getting to run the bases after the game. But it's also a subscription club, even getting a new mascot to go along with BJ Birdie's replacement named Ace, basically getting a son named Junior to represent the Junior Jays. Now the question is, where's the mother? Girlfriend? Wife? No relation? MLB's first female mascot, Diamond. Oh. But in actuality, it's because she didn't have the popular appeal that Ace did. That same year as the magazine's last issue, a miracle would happen for the Blue Jays. They made the playoffs again for the first time since 1993, going against the Texas Rangers. And the rest is history.
In bizarre fashion in the top half. The 1-1 from Dodson. Batista with a drive. Deep left field. No doubt about it.
They won a playoff series and would reach the American League Championship Series against the Kansas City Royals, in which they ultimately lost to the eventual World Series champion. The next year, it happened again. They made it to the playoffs, beat the Baltimore Orioles in the wildcard round, took down the Texas Rangers again, but lost in the conference finals to the World Series losers this time in the Cleveland Indians, in which the Chicago Cubs would come back from a 3-1 series deficit to win a World Series for the first time since 1908. A 108-year drought completely erased. Cleveland Guardians, the longest championship drought in MLB history, is all yours. It took some time, but a rebuild was in the cards, and found someone to lead this new rebuild from the ashes of an old familiar franchise. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., son of legendary Montreal Expos and Los Angeles Angels player of the same name. And it didn't go so well for a while. In mediocrity for a bit until they reached the wildcard round in 2022, to ultimately blow an 8-1 lead to the Seattle Mariners. And then not showing up in 2023, giving the Minnesota Twins their first playoff win in over 20 years.
But 2025? oh, did things turn around.
And man, oh man, was it ever a time to be a baseball fan here in Canada. In 2025, after having a disaster of a season with a 74-88 record in 2024, once Vladdy got his big contract extension, the Toronto Blue Jays not only won the American League East Division, upset the New York Yankees, and Springer-dingered the Seattle Mariners to win the American League Championship, they went to the World Series for the first time in 32 years, and almost won against the reigning champion in the Los Angeles Dodgers, in a game of inches.
You know, all the commentators and all the people online are looking at me like this after that result.
The Jays fans are waking up now. And I know just what they'll do. All the Jays fans up in Canada will all cry.
You think losing a World Series would make me all mopey and dopey like Heartbreak and Pain? This is my first ever World Series that I've seen and remembered in my lifetime. Do you know what this team did for me? It didn't make me feel sad or in pain. It made me feel something that the Toronto Maple Leafs would never be, with their fat wallets and complacency. Hopeful and hungry. And I don't mean hungry. I mean hungry.
Chuck, Chuck. Now, let's go in. Come on, everybody.
The World Series did so much more for this country than you realize. Profits from across the city went up. From the bars to memorabilia bringing attention to free agents, and even the media from across the border who didn't think we had Starbucks here and would wince at the idea of bringing fans and players to Toronto, came up here. Finally gave the city its respect. Also realizing we may not be ready to host the FIFA World Cup or another World Series in terms of transportation. Think about that. And to start the 2026 season, their 50th season, that momentum would continue, with back-to-back comeback wins and a series sweep against the Athletics, while also doing so much to honor their past. Giveaways, bringing back faces both on and off the field, showing their achievements across the concourse, and honoring one of their longtime alumni later this year, who retired before the season started, was a broadcaster, manager, and player for the team, Buck Martinez. So the Toronto Blue Jays, in the time the franchise has been around, not only have won 2 World Series championships, multiple division wins, and had generational players that have been a part of it, but have united a country that no other team in the city has ever done, aside from the Toronto Raptors when they won it all in 2019. Lacrosse? Toronto Rock does well, but is constantly losing to the Buffalo Bandits. But hey, they made it to the finals this year without Buffalo. Don't blow it. You didn't blow it, and are NLL champions for the first time since 2011. Congratulations. Plan the parade! Football? The Toronto Argonauts dominate the Grey Cup, being the most decorated franchise in the CFL, but many look at the CFL differently compared to the NFL. Why do you think the league is changing the rules this year to be more like the NFL? As for actual football, despite Toronto FC winning a championship in 2017, they haven't reached those heights again. Basketball? Aside from the aforementioned Raptors championship in 2019, they too haven't reached those heights again, and are currently in a rebuild. But also we're getting a WNBA team in the Toronto Tempo, so we don't know about them yet. Hockey? Well, the Toronto Scepters were just created, alongside the PWHL, so it will take some time to get an idea of how they are doing. The Toronto Marlies have fared a bit better, winning a Calder Cup in 2018, and just won another in 2026. Congratulations. Plan the parade! But the Maple Leafs? What a joke. Toronto is a baseball town, whether you like it or not.
When we come back, we gotta go to camp. It's time to set up a musical.
Next time on the YTV Retrospective.
Smash it, smash it, drop it, chop it, throw it in the pot. Dice it, slice it, beat it, get it while it's hot. Now bang your forks and bang your spoons, stomp your feet, it's coming soon. We can't wait to see you all on YTV. King of
Camp premieres Sunday, May 4th at 6.